morning from wonderful Chiang Mai. I've spent the last few days here going about checking out this really interesting town, and I felt that it was time to perhaps make a move and check out some other places. The weather got pretty cool the last couple of days. I haven't even swum. So I decided to rent a little motorbike. An old little thing, but works and runs well. And I decided to take a trip somewhere else to check out the nearby towns and provinces. So this is my goodbye to Chiang Mai for now, and off we go. I decided to leave earlier rather than later to make the most of the day, but I'll need to stop by somewhere and get a quick breakfast before I leave town completely. Unfortunately, the one-way street system here in Chiang Mai is a bit of a headache to navigate. I always get lost in these little side streets. Although I don't like to admit it, this time I went for a McDonald's breakfast just for the sake of convenience and speed, to get some energy for the trip. There are plenty of elephants living in these mountains, and occasionally they cross the street. So one has to be a bit careful not to run into them. This bike is probably 25 years old. Not exactly the best machine for these relatively steep hills, but trying to get the most out of it nevertheless. And here we have Thai Elephant Conservation Center for sick elephants, for lost baby elephants. It's a hospital, it's a nursery. The elephants like to live up in these hills, and appropriately there is this conservation rather center to look after them. to get to Lampang before it starts raining, because it looks eerily overcast and quite chilly. Usually it starts raining when it's like this, so I'm just going to go straight without any stopping and hope I make it before the rain starts, if the rain starts. Still, the ride is very enjoyable. Especially down the hill, because this bike really struggles up the steep hills. And we'll see what Lampang has to offer. Good morning from a nice and pleasant Lampang. We've got some fantastic weather, so I'll go and check out what I can find in this town. And right now I'm standing here in a park, and there is this Lampang museum behind me, and there's the usual stupa, some temples in the background, and some interesting things about this city are that this city has been contested between the kingdom of Ayutthaya and the Burmese, and for some period of time, about 250 years ago, the Burmese controlled this town, and perhaps legend has it that the horse-drawn carriages had been introduced here by the Burmese, who themselves had been under British rule at the time. So please join me, let's go and check out this town real quick. How better to check out a city than from a horse-drawn carriage, such as this one that we are riding on. This is a very old town, and it has a lot of old buildings corresponding with its origin. And there are about 60 or 70,000 inhabitants living in this city. And this is the only city in all of Thailand which has horse-drawn carriages that can be held as a ride instead of a taxi. This is the old town, old part of town. buildings here. Some are dating back to the Ayutthaya days of control of this area in the early 18th century. Many have shops. Families live upstairs, and in the evening time this whole area comes to life with a walking street. It's marvelous. Some of the most preserved buildings in Thailand. Some of the oldest. It really is a joy touring this old quarter on a horse-drawn carriage. Feel like in the 19th century again. It's wonderful. An old tea house had been in operation for almost 200 years non-stop. Beautiful old buildings, lovely architecture. All sorts of old buildings. Well, it turns out Lampang has been a very pleasant surprise. Check this out. Old building, typical Thai, northern Thailand building. We are approaching the center of town. This is the old clock tower, which had been built under the Ayutthaya stewardship. And eventually this town had been incorporated into Siam in the late 18th century by the Kingdom of Siam, where it remains to this day. turns out it was a very nice idea to come and visit this town. It has loads to offer. It's one of the oldest towns with the longest history, along with Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, in all of northern Thai region. There are plenty of temples, pagodas, old houses, some of them untouched for centuries. Must say, I'm glad I decided to visit this wonderful little town. And no visit would be complete to any Thai city without a visit to one of these premium temples in town, and this is one of them. It's called Wat Ko. Really beautiful structure, gold plated, as most of them are, and it's believed that it had been built during the Burmese period by the Burmese monks and financed by the merchants. Let's take a look around this thing. We have two giant golden Buddha sitting there behind the glass. Indeed, almost anywhere in Thailand where you go, you're bound to find some amazing historical structures. It's a joy traveling around this country for many other reasons, but this is one of them. If you want party and good time, you go to the tourist seaside resorts. You can party, you can smoke joint if you like in many of the cannabis cafes which had opened up. So you can dance the night away in many of the discos in the seaside resorts, if that's your thing. Or you can do all of the above. And here is the old river. So, did I think it was a good idea to come to Lampang? Hell yeah, it's been a joy. Riding the carriages had been really interesting and fun, pleasant. And it's a great little town, and there are many others, similar ones in Thailand. Everyone is a little bit different, but they're all really interesting in their own right. And I'm going to say goodbye from Lampang, and I'll hope to see you next time. Bye.